This is Andy off Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm glad to be joined by Paul Butler from World Champion here at Gallagher's Gym. Paul, first and foremost, Happy New Year and hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah, no, wasn't too bad. Ate quite a bit, drank a bit, but yeah, good to get the new year out the way and look forward to 2020 now.
You just mentioned obviously coming into 2020. The last few times I've interviewed you, you've mentioned kind of a wait to see what Inoue will do with the belt if he's going to vacate, because it's obviously difficult to try and engineer yourself into a position to fight for one of those titles. I know you've got highly ranked with IBF, of course, but what is the plans heading into 2020? Are you still looking along those lines, or?
Yeah, Joe's obviously still in talks with the IBF to see what's going on. I know Inoue's been called to make a mandatory, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know whether I'll have a final eliminator if he vacates. 2 and 3 will box for the final eliminator, and we box the kid that he was meant to be challenging. Well, challenging for Inoue's title. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm mandatory for the European as well, so I don't know whether that's going to go to purse bids, because I haven't heard nothing along them lines yet. So we've got our fingers in a few pies at the moment.
I was going to say, you know, in your opinion, what do you think kind of seems like the most likely? Would you see yourself doing what maybe Callum's done? He's got the European title fight just around the corner now. Do you kind of see that happening first before being into a position to fight for a world title? Or?
Obviously, world title would always come first, but yeah, I wouldn't mind a European. I'd love to box for the European. Karim Garif, I think, has it at the moment. I think he's held it for his 4th time now, so very respectable opponent. Someone I'd like to get in the ring with. He likes to talk a little bit. So yeah, I'd love that fight.
I know you've obviously had a couple of fights on a lot of small shows recently, just to kind of tick over and keep yourself in the ring, just to make sure you don't have any ring rust. How have you found that adaptation from, obviously you've boxed in front of large crowds, you've boxed across the country in front of large crowds. What's that kind of the change in mentality and trying to prepare yourself mentally for fighting in front of the smaller crowds when you've been in such highs before?
Well, the small shows that I've boxed on, you pretty much won before you walked in the ring, to be honest with you. The opponents aren't great. You're there to just get some rounds under your belt, and obviously they are called takeover fights for a reason. But you never go in there knowing that it's actually won. You still need to perform, and you still need to get in there and do a good job, and I try and do that. I try and go out and I try and be as professional as I can and box to the best of my ability. I train as hard as I can in the gym, whether it's a world title fight or not. I'll always go out there and I'll always put 110% in, and it is a little bit different. Ticket sales are a lot different. It's hard to try and get a lot of people, especially around Christmas as well, for a smaller show, but listen, you've got to go out there, you've got to do your job, and you've got to do these things to get your title fights, what we're looking for.
Just to move away from yourself, just on the rest of the gym, obviously Callum waiting for news as to what's going to happen next, talks of Canelo, but then Billy Joe Saunders' name's also been thrown in there. What's your thinking beyond what could be up next for Callum?
I'd love him to have the Canelo fight. I know everyone writing him off after the John Ryder fight, but listen, you're only getting a 50% Callum Smith in the John Ryder fight. Styles make fights, and I think a Canelo style would suit Callum. Canelo style would suit Callum because he's not as in your face as John Ryder. John Ryder has to be up close and he has to be working the body, and Canelo likes to work his way in. And that suits Callum. Callum's a big super middle. But to be honest with you, I think they'll stay clear of Callum for a little while, and I think they're going to try, and I think they'll do what they've done with a Golovkin. Try and wait for him to deteriorate a little bit. Maybe wait for Callum to a few more sides that he might be struggling at weight or something. But believe me, Callum's he probably does the weight the best in the gym out of everyone. Like, for the size of him, you wouldn't think so, but he does.
What did you make of Callum's bout with John Ryder? Obviously, over social media, there was a strong reaction with many people kind of siding towards Ryder, some edging towards Callum, but it's kind of mixed opinion, but a lot from the initial reaction kind of leaning towards John Ryder. What was your thoughts on it at the time?
I was there on the night and I was ringside. I thought Callum done enough to win the fight. I think he won majority of the early rounds basically by just using a jab and just moving his feet. I think he allowed John to have the success that he did because Callum just held his feet, and I think it was awkward for him in a sense because Callum likes to catch that and then come back with the left hook. John was just too small. You've got a big super middleweight and a really small super middleweight, and I think that was just the awkwardness with the fight. I think it was just that, and I do think that you like I pointed on before, you did get a 50% Callum Smith. I think I know everyone says it and like you don't take your eye off what's in front of you, but there's things going on around, and do you know what I mean? There's talk of Anfield, and that's in your head as well. And he had John Ryder in front of him, and John Ryder's that's his big opportunity. Don't get me wrong, he'll come again, John Ryder. He's a very good fighter. I was speaking to people at ringside, and we were lumped in his crowd at ringside, and even before the fight I said that it won't be as easy as everyone thinks, and even Joe was saying it's not the easiest fight in the world. People were thinking, oh, it's just easy because it's another Brit, it's John Ryder, he's been beat by so-and-so and so-and-so, but good fighter, he's always improving, John Ryder, and I think he's improved massively.
To move away from Callum and onto Jose Burton. Jose obviously in the Golden Contract Tournament, defeating Bob Ajisaf last time out, back end of last year. Firstly, what was your thoughts on Jose's performance?
I caught it in the 6th round. I got out the ring myself and I went straight in the changing rooms, and it was on the phone. But a very good performance. Very disciplined. Didn't go round chasing him like everyone else normally does with Bob Ajisaf. Jose's a very clever and intelligent fighter himself. And it's a shame he hasn't got the opportunities since losing to Buglioni in the last round, which a fight he was winning comfortable. He just hasn't had the chances, and now he's going to get it, and people have seen how much of a clever and smart fighter he is, and he can also pop as well.
Would you say he's the favourite in the tournament, especially on the back of that win? Or?
Yeah, I think he was the favourite anyway going into it. A lot of people were tipping him or Bob, and he's took Bob out in the first round. Now it's opened right up for him.
And then on to Sam Hyde, because Sam fights next Sunday, I believe, against Dion Juma for the English British Cruiserweight title. English Cruiserweight title. Your thoughts on Sam's fight there and how he's been looking in camp?
Before I split up, before Christmas, Sam was looking brilliant. And speaking to Joe today, yeah, he's doing everything right. He's doing everything that Joe asks. He's the fittest he's been. He's leaping over that bar apparently like there's no tomorrow. So Sam, very talented kid, as we all seen against Riakpo in the first fight. Very unfortunate to get that injury. He could be sat here now as potentially the British champion himself, because he'd have had the same path as Riakpo. Obviously styles make fights, and I'm not saying he'd beat everyone that Riakpo beat, but he might have beat him quicker, you never know, so styles make fights. But I haven't seen Juma, to be honest, but Joe speaks very highly of him. That's why they're putting in the hard work. They know it's not an easy fight. So I think if Sam's on the ball and Sam's does everything that Joe asks him to do, then he should come out English champion.
Finally, just a couple more questions, just get your thoughts on. Obviously, at the back end of last year, we never had a chance to catch up with you. Ruiz-Joshua too, Anthony Joshua reclaiming his heavyweight world titles. What was your thoughts on his performance and his victory?
Do you know what? I'll be honest, I was one of them that said it'll be a repeat. But wow, what a performance. Talk about sticking to a game plan and going out there and executing it perfectly. Outstanding performance, you can't knock him for it. People are saying, he ran. Boxing's boxing, it's not a fight. It's about being the smartest and the most intelligent in there, and that's exactly what he done.
And finally, just a matter of just over a month now from Wilder Fury 2 out in Las Vegas this time round. What are your thoughts on that one?
Fury, I've got to go Fury all day, every day. I thought he boxed the ears off him last time. It was very, very unfortunate to get a draw. I think it's going to be repeat, but I can't see him getting caught with them two right hands, especially where he got caught with, I think it was the 7th or 9th, was it? And then especially the 12th. Honestly, my opinion, I think he stops him this time round. Yeah, I think he stops him.
Well, Paul Butler, I will let you shoot off now, because I know Jose has just walked in as well, and you've both got things to do later on today. So appreciate your time once again. I'll catch up with you soon, and thanks for speaking to myself on Boxing Social.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Paul. Thank you. Nice one. Cheers.